gentleman yields back, I will reclaim my 5 minutes and wrap this up. You all have been patient with us as we look at the bioethics of this situation. Dr. Schmainda, what I have seen is a difference of opinion between some of those on whether fetal tissue is necessary, it's a convenience, or it's a cost savings. So can you kind of help us understand how that difference of opinion exists?
Absolutely. I think the issue of researchers using fetal tissue is largely over-exaggerated. There's $76 million from the NIH given to those that use fetal body parts for their research. That's out of an annual budget of $30 billion. That amounts to 0.25%. Also, there's maybe 160 investigators funded by the NIH. There's 300,000 investigators overall funded by the NIH. So this is not going to change the direction of science. Just 2 days ago, I looked at PubMed, which is the area you look for the most recent scientific or all the scientific publications. There's over 32,000 articles on adult stem cell therapy, and rarely ever do you get to publish anything with a negative result. I think that science will probably be better without it, because whenever we do have limitations, or on both sides of the panel we say, when you have a problem, you typically, I completely agree in the creativity of the scientific mind to overcome these challenges, and I think I know we will come up with
Let me ask you one more thing. There's been a question about the immunized mice. Can't that come from adult stem cells?
You know, I can't speak to specific things, but what I know from colleagues of mine doing immunology research is they say it is not essential. It has given them nothing more than what they already get from adult stem cell models.
All right. I want to go back to, and I'm going to come to you, Dr. Lee. Go back to Exhibit 3, but let's go a little bit further down this permission form. Do you have the permission form in front of you, I think?
I don't.
Okay. If someone will be sure that these are at the desk, or Ms. Schmainda, if you have one, if you will share.
Okay.
As you look at Exhibit 3, and we've talked about the statement at the top of that permission form that is misleading, go a little further down. It says, I understand I have no control over who will get the donated blood and or the tissue or what it can be used for. And then a little further down, I understand there will be no changes to how or when my abortion is done in order to get my blood or the tissue. And the next one, I understand I will not be paid. Now, as we look at this, I would like to hear from you, Dr. Lee, because we've heard about how quickly the tissue has to be pulled. Dr. Schmainda talked about this, of how they have someone so close at hand within those first few minutes, and then the tissue is properly treated and moved on for the research that they are going to go. Do you think this is a proper representation to women who are going in for an abortion, who don't understand that there is a profit motive or a financial motive behind this when you look at Form A2 that shows what they're being paid, and then they're asked to say and agree that they have no control over their donated blood or tissue, and that there will be no changes or manipulations on that abortion or how it is done and the time that it is done, and that there is no financial compensation to them. I'd like to hear your take on the ethics of the situation with these items on that form.
Well, it seems to me that there's an effort to present this in what I would say a sanitized manner. It sounds like everything is being done altruistically, and that no one here is making any money off of this. And I think when you talk about someone who is there in working on site, who gets compensated more, the more parts are received, it makes it a little less makes it incredible to think that no one is really profiting from these things or is getting paid. So, and I think So I think that raises questions about the accuracy of the representation about this all being that there's no profit motive involved, that there's no that it's always just completely altruistic. Also, I think it's good to note that all of this is at a time when get presented to them when I think knowing that this is something that might come up that is done, that fetal tissue is so-called donated. That can tilt the scale, I think, in her decision. So I just don't think I don't think it's credible to say that.
My time has expired, and I would ask you to wrap up. I thank you for the answer to the question.